I see it in my head. Numbers are easy, it's all baby math. I'm a cosmologist. I mean, I have a telescope that I use for seeing to teach people about the universe and space and our solar system. It's really kind of asinine to go in there and start spewing off of the mouth because you think you know better than somebody else, when they've actually studied the compounds inside the cannabis plant itself and found it to be not some dangerous, non-useful medical thing. Of course it is useful in medicine. THC stops nausea, and it's also known to stop epileptic seizures. It's also known to give them an appetite so that they can actually eat when they're taking chemotherapy. But Cold Hard Logic didn't know this. Obviously, he only looks up things on Google and then tries to counter what people say that is absolutely ludicrous. But this time, Cold Hard Logic got cold hard stomped in the ground by logic. Cold Hard Logic isn't all that smart. He's picking stuff off the internet that he can make fun of people for, and you will follow him, fully. My favorite actually is Simon Dan, who actually does have a highly comprehensive skills in cosmology. He does a great job of countering everything that anyone says, and he does so very nicely without being rude about it. Okay, maybe slightly rude, but it's comically slightly rude. And that's why I love Simon and Dan's channel, because of the fact that he really is quite intelligent and counters everything perfectly and beautifully and concisely. That's what science should be. It's a learning experience, always ever growing. That's why the scientific theory is not the same as a lawyer's theory, which is just a lie to try to get a client off so he can get some money. Scientific theory is when it's peer-reviewed and tested and made sure to be accurate, therefore confirming that this is a positive fact, and then it's moved up to theory. Which another idiot doesn't seem to think of it. It's just to keep the quality. No, it's to prove that this test and study and this hypothesis of this person is actually correct, accurate, and can pass on to theory. A theory is full of many facts, depending on the theory, like the theory of evolution, which has hundreds of facts that have been added to it over the years. And to see where it grew from over a 40-year period, I mean, we used to call the X chromosome the mitochondrial DNA, when actually the mitochondria are a trapped slave bacteria, which has its own DNA. But they just started learning about DNA, and they really didn't know much about the mitochondria or how it worked. Now, just get 20 years later, and they know that the mitochondria is actually a trapped symbiotic bacteria with its own DNA, and they understand DNA a little better. But they still couldn't find a criminal by DNA evidence. They still couldn't prove paternal through DNA evidence. Now, we can find any criminal by its DNA evidence, including 20 or 30 years old DNA that we couldn't do back 10, 20 years ago. And we can also do paternal tests and make sure it's accurate to 99.9998% that you are the father. Science grows. It's an ever-growing process. Obviously, Cold Hard Logic doesn't understand this, and he doesn't quite get that THC is a new molecule that we have found inside the cannabis plant that does actually, in a petri dish, attack and kill all cancer cells. When you sit there and try to address someone, please make sure that you understand what they're saying. And if you don't, then it's best not to address them. That's just ludicrous and idiocy. And so far, the one that seems to be ludicrous and idiot is Cold Hard Logic. Now, I've had people come back saying, wow, I'm in the medical field, and you really addressed this, and you addressed it in far greater detail than even I would have gone into, which is what I do. And so most of the time when a cosmologist comes up and doesn't know who I am, and I say something, their mouths drop wide open. And, who are you, and where did you come from? And how long have you been? For over 40 years. The fact that I don't have the degree is because Dad wanted me to not take a junk science, so I had to take medical. So I went for my MD because then I could pay for the equipment that I needed to do my cosmological research. So there you go. Understanding of biology, chemistry, and physics, of how the universe works. Where did we come from? Well, basically we come from a destroyed world, from a star that blew up, and inside these rocks that we have found are amino acids and 80 some odd different highly advanced biochemicals. There's always an answer to everything, you just have to look for it.